it mixes. And we've got also on with the water mixable oil, I'm using the fast or quick dry medium, sorry. Okay, so to start off with, I'll get a bigger brush so I can move the paint around quickly. And I'm going to just use some of my water here. And I'm going to take a little of that burnt sienna and cobalt blue and just sort of get a gray base to start. Now if I'm using oil, if you're not using water mixable oil, you're using regular oil, you can use your to move the paint around. But I'm going to do both of these to show you can get good results using either acrylic or water mixable oil. And the beauty is they're both water-based mediums, so you're not getting such toxic chemical fumes when you're using something like the turp and all the rest of that. So just something I switched to because I moved my studio into a smaller space and I didn't want to have to breathe the chemicals as much. So now I'm going to get the same thing. I'm grabbing some cobalt and some of the burnt sienna and some of that quick dry medium, and I want to go and do the same thing. So I'm just going to get more of that burnt sienna because it's a little bit different, and I added too much blue in there, so yeah, just add a little more of the burnt sienna if it looks too blue. And you'll notice right away it doesn't glide as quickly on this surface as the acrylic paint. So it's good to see the different mediums and how they work. I'm just going to use my Viva paper towel because it's nice and smooth. And I want to just move the oil paint around. This is what you would do if you were using regular oil as well with Gamsol, is you want to just move that around. So you are good to go. And you don't have, if you leave too much of that medium on the canvas, you end up with, it gets too slippery and the paint just sort of gets like mud. One of the mistakes beginners make in my classes is they will get onto an idea like that and then add too much of it, and then when I come around the room, it's a little bit too late. It's like the paint is already just sort of completely messed up. So you don't want to use a lot of medium. I don't usually like to use any at all, but I'm just letting you know how it's done at its kind of more technical, from a technical standpoint. A lot of the time people use a little water with water mixable oil, or they use just a little bit of water to paint the background for the tulips. So anyhow, the next thing I'm going to do, also I might mention that I'm going to keep these, I'm not going to finish the paintings. I'm going to show you the two tulips two ways, and if you want to join my Patreon channel, you can watch me finish the tulips and add a bird to each of the tulips. So I'm kind of multitasking because I need to make more paintings for my shops, and so I figured I'll do a video. So I always think about, okay, I'm going to leave room for the little birds, so I'll just sort of, I'm going to put the stem going this way and have it kind of arching that way. And I'm going to need a little more room, so I'll wipe away some of the space where I want the tulip. Also, I can wipe the stem and give it some texture already for when we get the paint going on it. Okay, so that'll give me enough room for a tulip right there. Now I think this is, because of the medium, by the way, the paint will stay a little bit, it'll stay a little bit wet longer too. So keep that in mind. If you're annoyed that your acrylics are drying really quick, you don't need to worry if you add a little bit of that gloss glazing liquid. Pretty much, I use gloss because I'll show, you can use it as a varnish as well. But you could use whatever glazing liquid you want. It's all pretty much the same thing, just in different packages. So don't fret. Okay, now I'm going to get some of this sap and burnt sienna like I did. And I think I had some blue in there. Really doesn't matter. You just want to get a stem in there. And we're also, if you stick around, because I know some of you are going, oh, this is boring. Stick around and you'll see that we're going to make these tulips really pop using the gel gloss medium. And we don't need any gloss medium for the oil. We're just going to use a palette knife and really get these flowers, you know, pumped up from the canvas, looking really thick and really fun, really loose. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm just blocking in. I'm not really thinking too hard. The main thing is you just want to block in. So I go dark to light, or what they call thin to thick paint. So if you use something like alizarin for your base, it's a very simple way to teach you. So I'll use something like this because it's just really easy to build a flower from dark to light. If you don't do that, then it's very hard to show the in-between lines or the shape or the form. So it's really helpful to build dark to light. So I painted so many tulips in my life. I'll give you a reference photo on Patreon of some tulips just so you get the idea of the shape and the form. But basically, yeah, I painted so many. I'm just going to make a little tulip shape here. You can have them falling apart, which always looks kind of dramatic. So just have a few of the edges kind of popping up like this. We'll open it up a bit. Okay, for now I'm going to leave that like that, and I'm going to go back to my acrylic paint, and I'm going to get some alizarin as well. So now we're going to go and add the alizarin on the acrylic side here. Because I have that medium under there, the paint didn't really stick very well, so I'm just going to go and lift that off. And every mistake is a learning lesson. So basically now you'll see the paint goes on a little thicker. This is very inexpensive paint, by the way. I'm using the Liquitex Basics. So if you were using like a golden paint, you would have it less transparent. Alizarin is a very transparent color anyhow, so it's not really a big deal because we're going to go over it with more color and paint. Okay, just kind of loosening up, making some tulipy marks, and then we're going to go back and we're going to start adding more color, and I'll get 2 palette knives out that I can use. I really need to buy new ones because these were pretty well used, but I'll try to find some decent ones. So maybe those 2 will work. And I'll find one. I could just use maybe that's something like this. Nah, it's probably too long. I'll just use these 2. Oh yeah, this one's good. I don't even know. I think I got this at Michael's. So yeah. Anyhow, I'm gonna use those 2. I'm gonna add a little yellow and lighten up that green a bit. Also, I'm gonna add a tiny bit of alizarin because it's so vivid. I need to kind of calm it down a little. So just gonna add a little bit of thickness to the stem. And the end result I'm going to have with my birds have been very kind of loose and impressionistic. So I don't really care if the stem looks perfect or not. I just kind of want to have a little bit of color and texture here. So I added a little white to that mixture, which made a really nice kind of lime green. So that's good enough for that. And then I'm going to go back now and do the same with the acrylic. So I'll get a little bit of that yellow and sap. This is sap green here. And you'll notice I don't mix all the yellow in at once, because another tip is not to put your colors right on top of each other. Slowly blend them in so you don't have to keep mixing piles and piles of paint. I'll add the alizarin in there. And then I'm going to go, oh yeah, and I'm going to add a little bit of that paste so that the paint, you can see, is already thicker just by adding that tiny bit of it. Oops. Also, when you add the gel medium to the paint, you also are slowing down the drying time. So it's also a good idea if you want that. And I'll just put a bit of a just a little hint of a leaf. I really want to keep it loose. So that paint we'll use later. Blend some of that into the background. I'll add a little white to the acrylic, just like we did for the oil, and I've got some of that burnt sienna sitting there, and I'm just gonna do the same. Okay, so that's good enough for now. Let's move on to the red. So I'm going to do the same. I'll get some of that modeling paste and some of the Cad Red Light. And so we don't go straight to the brightest red. You can add a little alizarin in there. Kind of dull it down a little bit. Basically, if you add alizarin to Cad Red Light, you're making yourself some Cad Red Medium. If you have any tips about that, you just leave me a note in the comments. Also, if you're watching this video, don't forget to like and subscribe. And if you want to see more like this, you can join me on Patreon and start your painting journey with me there. There's tons and tons of videos that aren't on my YouTube channel. And yeah. So we're going to start by upping the red there using that mixture. Just going to wipe off my palette knife and head over to the oil paint. I'm going to add a little bit of that quick dry medium because red does take a little bit more time to dry. And I'll do the same. I'll mix up a little color with alizarin so you get a little bit of a kind of halfway there color. Okay, and now I can add some of this Cad Red. I'll make it lighter by adding some yellow. And I'm going to add start adding a little highlight there. I'm going to add a little white in that mix and really get some little bit of like a shine to it. Okay, so I don't mess around with that too much. I'm going to go back to this one, do the same. I'll add some white into my acrylic paint here and some of that cad red light. Okay. Now you can just add a little highlight here and there. Same thing. Notice you can barely tell the difference. If you didn't know I was painting oil or acrylic, you would just think they're both oil. Okay. Now I can go back and I'll add a little bit of some of that darker green. Okay, so there you have it. Tulips, 2 ways. And I'm going to carry on and add some birds to each one. And those will go up on my Patreon channel. So I hope you enjoyed this little lesson. And I look forward to teaching you some more. And hope you like and subscribe my channel and all that good stuff. So anyhow, leave me a note in the comments if there's any other questions you have or any other flowers you'd like me to paint. Thank you for all your support and everything, and happy painting. Goodbye.